Good morning everyone, we're going to be doing an intuitive response drawing today, which is going to be incredibly different from anything we normally do. It's going to be a bit messy, and you're going to have to kind of trust me and go with this, okay? It's going to be a very different a process. A lot of time when we're drawing, we're looking at the outside world and the world around us, and we're generating images that match those. There might be distorted images, but generally they have some grounding in reality. Now with intuitive response drawing, it's not. It's about really allowing your imagination to fly and do its own sweet thing. You can do this in all manner of different mediums, from painting, through to graphite drawing. Today I'm going to be using charcoal. So I've got some A3 paper here. It's a bit messy because I've been messing around already with the charcoal this morning, but that won't really matter. Then I've got a pebble just out of the back garden. I've got a piece of tissue. I've got some standard natural charcoal sticks. I've got compressed charcoal to give me some darker colours, and I've got a pencil, charcoal pencil, to give me some options too. I also have a putty rubber and some masking tape. Now for the first project, because we're going to be doing a few different projects to warm you up into this, we're going to be using the pebble, that's the word I'm looking for. And what you're going to need to do is to take your pebble, with everything else rolling down your desk, and cover it in charcoal. So I'm taking a piece of natural charcoal, but you can use any charcoal form you want to do this, and putting charcoal all over my pebble. But it's all the P's this morning. Then I'm going to get that, and I'm just going to kind of roll it around on the surface of my paper. Now depending on the shape of the pebble that you've chosen and how much charcoal you put on it, you're going to get different types of patterns. You can always to and fro and build up a little bit more denser tone if you want to. So you can see here I'm just going back, I'm putting some more charcoal on my pebble, and I'm working that out into the surface of the paper. I'm not thinking of anything in particular, I'm just rolling the pebble around the surface of the paper to get a few different types of patterns and tones going on. And because I'm working on A3 paper, it's a bit bigger. Normally whenever you do this type of drawing, painting, you go for quite a large size so that you can be quite free and allow anything that needs to happen. So I'm just going up here because I fancy going up here today, and I'm going to build that up. A lot of artists use techniques kind of like this to start themselves off. It's particularly popular with fantasy designers. Pebbles and charcoal I've seen used a few times to create a few marks, which are then turned into characters for various illustrations. So it's not unusual. It's quite a handy, practical way to stimulate your imagination and getting you to think in a very alternative mind frame. Now you can see I'm putting this up here. I'm just doing this because I feel like going up there. Okay, and I'm going to work this pebble out across my piece of paper. So you can see I'm just building it up. Now I'm going to stop there. You could do the whole piece of paper if you want to. You can see how covered in charcoal I'm already got. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to start kind of playing around with this basic structure that I've got down on the piece of paper. Now first of all, I want to explore some mark making, because these are lovely little mark makings. I've got fingerprints and all manner of things in there. So I'm going to come in with my compressed charcoal, and you can come in with any charcoal you want. I'm going to just kind of hold my charcoal very loose, and I'm rolling my charcoal. So I've got it between my fingers and I'm rolling the charcoal to trace the lines that I rather like and the marks. And just to kind of follow the marks on the surface of the paper and see where they lead. I'm not thinking of any particular shapes or forms that I want to generate. I just want this piece of charcoal to be moving. Okay. Working over the top of these lines it's kind of hard to control. I want it rolling backwards and forwards. I'm not thinking of anything in particular. I'm not trying to make it anything. I'm just looking at the shapes I can see on the paper. I'm kind of working on top of them. That's what you can see I'm doing now. I'm trying to keep this piece of charcoal moving. Right, so once you've got those basic shapes down, okay, lines, mark making, completely up to you what you want to call them, then I want you to start working into it. Now the first thing I want you to do is to find where you want your light focus to come from. Now for me it feels quite natural for the light focus to be up here and for the picture to be darker down here, because probably the density of the lines that I've got. But you could have light coming down here and make this really dark. There's absolutely no rule that you have to abide by. I'm going to start building up some darker tone down here. Now I'm going to take my natural charcoal and I'm going to start working that in to my lines, and then I'm going to use a bit of tissue. You can see it's had a hard life already, this bit of tissue, and I'm going to start blending that out into areas to build up some tone. Again, I'm not really thinking of anything in particular that it's going to be. It's just that I've got my light source up here and my darker shadows around here, and I've got these lines moving in certain directions, so I'm kind of using the lines to give me the idea of the directions that I want my marks to be going for my shadowy areas ultimately. And then a little bit more down here. Quite nice drawing with the tissue. You get different interesting marks you can just work into. Okay, and then at this point you just need to be building up some stronger, darker shadow areas. So you might want to go back into the compressed and just work up a few areas where you're getting it really nice and dark. You can smudge that into what you've already got, or you could leave it as the lines that you want. You can use some of those guidelines to give you tone. Right, so you should be getting to a point somewhere like this, where I've basically just been putting in dark areas and light areas to play around with things, or not working some area to give the contrast. Now once you get to this point, then you can start looking at what you can see in the image and working up anything if you want to there. I won't do it too much or you'll lose that kind of fluid nature of the drawing, but you can build it up a lot more if you want to. To me, something like this feels like an underwater scene, so I'm kind of just working in on that level. But you might see something completely different. Right, so I'm going to stop there. Now it's your turn to have a go. See what happens.